Have you ever been going through some marketing, like a sales letter, sales video, product page, whatever, and you get to the point where they are trying to get you to buy now, and they hit you with something that is just very blatantly and obviously fake urgency or fake scarcity? So, for example, like, we're only going to sell 38 copies of this ebook. And so, if you're interested, you should buy now. When in reality, you know that it's an ebook, it's digitally reproduced at like no cost to them. And if number 39 wants to buy it, or number 3900 wants to buy it, they're going to be happy to sell it to them too. And in that moment, you make a decision that, I can't really trust this person. I can't really trust this marketer anymore because they're lying to get me to buy right away. And so instead, I'm just not going to buy. Or maybe you didn't even have that level of awareness of the situation, but instead you just got a strange feeling in your gut like, I'm not interested in this. Well, that's a very real risk if you are a marketer or a copywriter. And I want to talk about how to do urgency and scarcity right in today's episode.
These are the proven direct response marketing, copywriting, and entrepreneurship success strategies you can use today to write your own ticket and create the life you want. I am Roy Furr, and this is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Now, here's today's breakthrough.
Okay, so let's talk about creating real urgency and creating real scarcity. And let me start with a story where I first discovered kind of the power of this. So when I was brand new to being a freelance copywriter, one of the first products that I wrote for was a business opportunity program put out by American Writers and Artists, otherwise known as A2AI. And I wrote the sales letter, and it was just like, it launched and it was going gangbusters. And so I wrote the sales letter, we put it out. All of a sudden, all these people were buying, and they said, hold on a minute. We want to make sure that we actually like are able to provide good customer service to these people. And we want to make sure that we don't flood the market or whatever. And so they had a real consideration there that they might actually be selling too fast. And what they did was, number one, they called me and I said, well, why don't we shut down sales? Why don't we send out an announcement and say, hey, we just want to make sure that we are providing the best possible customer service, like repeating their words back to them. We just want to make sure that we're providing the best possible customer service to you. And so in the interest of doing that, we are going to be shutting down sales of this. And if you are interested in getting in before you shut down sales, why don't do it by this date? And they said, Roy, we haven't ever done that in our company's history, and we hate using gimmicky urgency and scarcity, and that's just not something that we do. And so, yeah, maybe we can think about it, but we're not going to do that. 24 hours goes by, and I get another call from them, and they said, Roy, we're going to go with your advice. We're going to put a deadline on this. We're going to just tell people, we're going to give them a heads up. We're closing the cart. We're not going to sell beyond this date. And at some point in the future, we may relaunch it. But if you're interested in getting in now, get in now. And so they did that. And actually what happened, because it was legitimate, it was from the heart, it was not done in a gimmicky way. It was done in a way that actually reflected their true intentions. And it was real urgency and scarcity. We actually sold more in those last couple days than the initial numbers that looked like, whoa, this is going to be off the charts. And in fact, it was for a number of years, and I don't know if it still is, the most successful opportunity product launch of its type in the company's history. And so it was just a blockbuster. And in large part, it was because we created this real sense of urgency and this real sense of scarcity. And, that was just one time where it very early on in my marketing career, where it completely underlined this sense of, hey, like if you have real urgency, if you have real scarcity, go for it. Another time I actually I was working with a company that published a gold stock newsletter, and they had this service that was focused on really, really tiny gold stocks, to the point where, if you've heard the term pump and dump, it was a real risk that if they promoted a stock, it would actually look to the market like a pump and dump thing. Like they said, if they told all their subscribers, hey, you should buy this stock, the trading volume was so low in these stocks that it would actually increase the price just on their recommendation. So, if a stock newsletter recommends Microsoft or Amazon or Twitter or whatever, like it doesn't move the price on any given day, but for these tiny stocks, it can't. And this company was very above board and trying to be as ethical as possible, and wanted the stocks to move for their own intrinsic reasons and not because they had recommended them. And so they actually put a cap of subscribers to their newsletter of, I think it was 1,000 total subscribers. And they had this service. So it was launched from time to time. And when the subscriber number would be lower, they would relaunch the service. And, after there'd been some attrition, and then, and we would, they would add some new subscribers to the rolls, right? So I had the opportunity while I was working with this company to write a relaunch campaign for this service. And it was, we'd been closed for 6 months or 12 months or something. And we're opening this up for a limited period of time. And, here have been the great returns that we've had recently. And if you're interested in getting in this kind of stock that can move this fast and create these great returns, you need to get in while we have this open. And now there's an explicit limit here of 1,000 total members, or we're just going to close this down after an indeterminate period of time. I think we said, within a month. Well, the same thing happened actually. Number one, the pitch for the service was really good, so it started selling really well. But then, as we were getting closer to that 1,000, we said, listen, we have this legitimate, real reason to make scarce the number of memberships in this service. And because we have this legitimate, real reason, and we're approaching our trigger point for that reason, we're actually going to shut this down a little bit early. And so instead of 4 weeks, I think after a week and a half or 2 weeks, we announced that it was shutting down early. And before 3 weeks was up, it was completely shut down. And like the previous example, there was a whole rush of people in at the end. Now, since then, Jeff Walker's product launch formula has become a big thing. And so people do a lot more to intentionally plan out these launches with a cart close date and all of that. And you work backwards from the date where you plan on stopping selling something. And I worked with Clayton Makepeace on a few campaigns where he'd have rolling deadlines and we'd have price increases at different points. And it would all be planned out so that there was a sense of urgency, at least in getting a particular price. And I've worked with, on different campaigns where maybe there's a calendar-based event coming up. For example, in the investment markets, there are a lot of things that show up on specific days. So, there's a Fed announcement on this day, or there's some market event that's going to happen on this day. And the market can move based on that, or the company may have a specific story where something is going to happen on a certain date or by a certain date. And so you want to invest ahead of that. And in all cases, what we're trying to do, so it's become much more well known that, you can create this urgency and you can create this scarcity. And it's become much more widely practiced. Sure, as copywriters, as marketers, we have always had the sense that, if we can create urgency, if we can create scarcity, that we're going to get a better response. What's happened recently is that there's just been all the more emphasis built around how can we create things from the beginning that have built-in urgency and scarcity that's real. And so what I want to reinforce to you with this, number one, is that urgency and scarcity are huge. In terms of getting response, you are doing yourself a serious disservice if you're not doing something to create a sense of urgency and scarcity in your offer. So you have to figure out a way that creates that urgency, creates that scarcity. Number two, this is really all about credibility and believability, and it has to feel real. It cannot feel contrived. Even if you have created a message out of a situation in order to amplify the experience of urgency and scarcity, it still has to come from a grain of truth. So when we were selling too many of that business opportunity product, the grain of truth is that they wanted to provide good service and make sure that the people that were buying were not going into a market that was suddenly going to be saturated. With the investment service, it was, hey, we have a real reason for limiting the number of people on this. In some cases, you can build it into the offer. So we're increasing the price after this date, or we're taking away bonuses after this date. And so it can be built into the offer. It can be built into the market. Like there can be market forces that cause a sense of urgency. What's going on in the person's life? And, frankly, the market can be, hey, there's a holiday going on right now, and there are weekend sales, around specific holidays. So Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July, Christmas, Black Friday, like Valentine's Day, whatever you want to do in terms of the particular holiday. If you want to build a sale around that to create scarcity and urgency, well, you can do that. Alternately, when I've sold physical products for clients, we've looked at stock on hand. And admittedly, sometimes we create marketing based on stock on hand, and the stock on hand changes all the time. And it still implies a sense of real urgency there. Amazon, I don't know how recently you've shopped on Amazon, but I have a few things in my cart, and I can tell you that in my Amazon cart, for the items that are lower stock, there is a reminder: 4 left in stock, 3 left in stock, whatever. And that appears on the product page. It appears in lots of different places. So they're creating real scarcity there based on a fairly complex logistics, integration that allows them to say, well, in our warehouses, we have this many left to ship, and when they're gone, they're gone. The whole thing, though, is that like this urgency and scarcity, when you put it into your marketing, it needs to be as real as possible. It needs to be as believable as possible. And then, of course, like you do have to have a good offer. You have to have a strong offer. But all else being equal, being able to layer in this urgency and scarcity around, there's some kind of limitation on your ability to get this offer, is going to increase your response. And I've seen it time after time. And I know so many other marketers have had the same experience. And so finding a way to make sure that you work that into your calls to action, into your presentation, into your marketing, into your copywriting, that is going to get you a higher response. And if you want to go deeper into how to build out the kind of marketing messages that get higher response, including that final element of urgency and scarcity, I do encourage you to check out my high velocity copywriting program. It's in my BTMS Insiders training library, which is like Netflix for copywriting and marketing training. So you pay a low monthly fee and you get access to everything, including high velocity copywriting. And I'll include a link with this episode to that. My name is Roy Furr. This has been your daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. I would love it if you'd leave a comment or review with this episode. Let me know on a scale of 1 to 10 how valuable you're finding it and why. What are your takeaways? What are your action items? What are you getting out of this? What do you want to hear more of from me? Also tap that like button before you go so you get more content like this delivered to you. And so the magical algorithms of the internet will share this episode with more people like you who will find it valuable. You can certainly share it with folks directly, and subscribe before you go. You can subscribe here. You can also go to breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com, get these daily episodes, get notifications, plus more exclusive content for email subscribers. Again, I'm Roy Furr for Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Check out the links in the description. I always aim for 10 out of 10 value. I hope that I've delivered it here, and I look forward to catching you again in the next episode. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you once again for tuning in to this daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Remember, check out the links with this episode for even more value. Now make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage in every way you can to keep this show going and growing and delivering daily value to you. I'll catch you soon for your next big breakthrough.